Hollywood has always thrived on legends, and two of its biggest names, Kirk Douglas and Clint Eastwood, represent very different sides of stardom. Kirk Douglas, the dimple-chin titan of the Golden Age, built a reputation as one of the industry's most intense and fearless actors. Eastwood, on the other hand, emerged later as the strong, silent type whose tough guy persona became the very definition of rugged American masculinity. Yet, when Douglas reflected on his long career, he surprised many by describing Clint Eastwood as both a gentleman and Hollywood's darkest star. These words captured not just admiration, but also a recognition of the complexity behind Eastwood's fame. Kirk Douglas, whose career stretched across decades with classics like Spartacus and Paths of Glory, knew what it meant to fight for integrity in Hollywood. He was outspoken, often battling studios and executives, and even played a critical role in ending the Hollywood blacklist. By contrast, Clint Eastwood's rise was quieter, but no less remarkable. From his early days on television's rawhide to international superstardom in Sergio Leone's spaghetti westerns, Eastwood's laconic characters stood in sharp contrast to Douglas's fiery intensity. To Douglas, this balance of grace and menace made Eastwood unique, a man who could embody gentlemanly, charm off-screen yet project a brooding darkness on-screen like no one else. When Douglas called Eastwood a gentleman, it was in recognition of his professionalism. Unlike many actors of his era, Eastwood built a reputation for being respectful, prepared, and easy to work with. He carried himself with quiet dignity and rarely engaged in the kind of headline-making scandals that plagued many of his contemporaries. In a world filled with egos, Eastwood's grounded approach stood out. Yet, Douglas also referred to him as Hollywood's darkest star, acknowledging the shadowy power Eastwood brought to his characters. Whether it was the mysterious man with no name or the uncompromising vigilante Dirty Harry, Eastwood's on-screen presence was steeped in danger, morality, and violence. He personified the darker undercurrents of American cinema. For Douglas, who often played flawed heroes grappling with moral dilemmas, Eastwood's ability to embody a harsher, more cynical worldview represented a shift in Hollywood storytelling. The Golden Age had celebrated noble protagonists who, despite their struggles, often upheld ideals of justice and hope. Eastwood's characters, however, blurred the line between hero and anti-hero. They reflected a world where justice was messy, where violence was sometimes the only solution, and where morality wasn't painted in black and white. Douglas recognized that this darker vision struck a chord with audiences of the 1960s and 1970s, a turbulent time marked by war, political unrest, and cultural upheaval. What made Douglas's words so striking was that they came from a man who had himself embodied Hollywood toughness for decades. Yet, he acknowledged that Eastwood had taken the archetype further, beyond the conventional hero, into the territory of shadow and ambiguity. Calling Eastwood Hollywood's darkest star wasn't an insult. It was a tribute. It was Douglas's way of saying that Eastwood had redefined what it meant to be a leading man, expanding the boundaries of masculinity on screen. Today, both Douglas and Eastwood stand as icons of different eras, their legacies intertwined by respect and contrast. Douglas, who lived to be more than 100, left behind a body of work that spoke to passion, courage, and defiance. Eastwood, still active as both an actor and director, continues to embody that mix of gentility and darkness that fascinated Douglas. Together, their careers tell the story of Hollywood's evolution, from the bold optimism of the Golden Age to the gritty realism of modern cinema.